Hi there, it's Ken from UAV Coach. Welcome back to our series as we get a closer look at the new Autel drones. Today we're going to do a side-by-side comparison of the Autel Nano Plus and the DJI Mini SE. We'll take them both out in the field for some demonstrations, and I'll share my honest review at the end. So let's get started. All right, so here we have it, the Autel Nano Plus and the DJI Mini SE. Now there is a DJI Mini 2, and at the time of this video being filmed, there is currently no DJI Mini 3 yet. For the sake of this comparison, we'll be comparing the DJI Mini SE to this Autel Nano Plus. Let's start off with what they have in common. Both of these drones weigh less than 250 grams. They also have very similar flight times, the Nano Plus being at 28 minutes and the Mini being at about 30 minutes. They both claim a wind resistance of level 5, and they have the same hovering accuracies according to the websites. Some of the notable differences between the two drones are the Nano Plus starts at about $949, and the DJI Mini SE is only $299. Now I do want to note that the Mini 2 is priced at $449, so it's closer, but that's still a pretty significant difference. With the Nano Plus, there are 4 color options. You have orange, white, and red, and only one for the DJI Mini, and that's gray. The Nano Plus captures 4K video at 30 frames per second, as compared to 2.7K on the Mini. The Mini takes 12 megapixel photos, and the Nano Plus can actually take up to 50 megapixel photos with a recent firmware update. The maximum transmission distance on the Mini is 4 kilometers, while the Nano Plus is about 10 kilometers. And the Nano Plus comes with obstacle avoidance in the front and the back of the drone, while the Mini doesn't have any obstacle avoidance around the drone. The Nano Plus has the ability to digitally zoom up to 16 times, and the Mini doesn't have any. Also, the Nano Plus Quick Shots provides a flick option, but the Mini uses what's called Helix. The rest of the Quick Shots are all the same. And a recent firmware update on the Nano Plus also added a high dynamic range function, or an HDR function. So now that we know some of the similarities and the differences, let's get these two things flying and let's see them in action. We'll be doing a side-by-side comparison of the two drones in a few key areas. We'll look at hovering. We'll also look at speed differences in the 3 flight modes. We'll look at photo quality and capability, as well as video quality and capability. We'll compare the automated modes in quick shots. We'll compare return to home accuracy, and I'll touch on a couple of the features on the Nano Plus that aren't available on the Mini. As far as hovering goes, as you can see in this comparison, the Mini SE seems to be a little more stable than the Nano Plus. The Nano did a good job, but it tended to move around vertically a bit, and there was almost no wind. Now let's look at maximum speeds. Obviously wind affects speed, but in my testing, in cinematic mode on the Mini SE and smooth mode on the Nano Plus, the Mini SE reached a maximum speed of about 8.8 miles per hour, whereas the Nano reached about 11.2 miles per hour. In positioning mode, or P mode on the Mini, and standard mode on the Nano, the Mini reached about 17.7 miles per hour, and the Nano reached about 20 miles per hour. However, in sport mode on the Mini SE and ludicrous mode on the Nano Plus, the Mini SE reached between 28 to 30 miles per hour consistently, and the Nano Plus was between 25.5 and 29.5 in video priority. If you recall, I mentioned that in ludicrous mode on the Nano Plus, you can select between video priority and speed priority. In speed priority, the Nano Plus was able to reach about 33.6 miles per hour in my testing. Now let's look at photo quality. The Mini takes 12 megapixel photos, whereas the Nano Plus can take up to 50 megapixel photos. In all my testing, I left the settings in auto mode to compare the drone capabilities for beginners, but both drones have a pro mode that gives you the ability to make adjustments to exposure settings, shutter speeds, and other camera settings. In these two photos, you can see the differences in detail and in the shadows and highlights, and even color. If we zoom in post-processing, you can start to see an even greater difference in detail and noise in the picture. Taking a look at the 2.7K video from the Mini and the 4K video from the Nano cameras, you can see the difference in detail and sharpness, and in both the shadows and the highlights. The Nano Plus also has an option for HDR, or high dynamic range, which in my opinion is where you'll see a big difference, especially for beginners trying to take great footage as easily as possible. HDR captures video at different exposure levels and combines them into one image. This feature seems to work very well on the Nano Plus. You can see the differences between the footage from the Nano with HDR on and HDR off, then between the Nano with HDR and the Mini SE. For beginners trying to capture great footage without having to do a lot of post-processing, HDR seems to be a great solution on the Nano Plus. Now let's switch to the intelligent flight modes of quick shots, starting with the circle as it's called in the DJI Fly app and the orbit as it's called in the Autel Sky app. The methods of use are very similar between the two. In this mode in particular, however, the Mini seems to do a better job of staying on point with the intended subject. The Nano Plus gets a little squirrely at first, then it attempts to recenter, but this happens consistently. I also noticed that the Nano seems to move faster than the Mini in almost all of the quickshot modes that you see here. In the drone-y mode in DJI or flyaway in Autel, they're pretty similar. There's not a lot of differences here other than just the camera quality. Same thing with the rocket mode. They're both called rocket in both apps. Pretty similar, not too bad. The Autel did go off center a little bit at the beginning, but it really wasn't too bad. Now in the flick on Autel and helix on DJI, again you can see that the Autel drone, the Nano Plus, goes off center of the target to begin with. Next, let's look at return to home. If you recall in my last video, I stated that the Nano Plus seemed to be less accurate on landing during return to home. After additional testing, I can say that this is not the case. In fact, the Nano did much better than the Mini in several tests that I conducted. Another feature is obstacle avoidance. The Mini SE has no obstacle avoidance sensors around the drone, and the Nano Plus has sensors in both the front and the back. In several tests that I conducted, the sensors and their integration with the app work very well, as you can see here. As the drone gets within about 30 feet of an obstacle, the app starts to provide a yellow warning and the distance to the obstacle. If the drone gets too close, the warning turns red, and about 15 feet, the warning turns red and the drone slows down. Then at about 10 feet, it slows even more, and about 8 feet, the drone stops and won't allow you to get any closer. The last thing that we'll review is the defog feature on the Nano Plus. It states that you will get a better image in rain or hazy environments. These side-by-side comparisons show the Nano Plus with the feature off and with the feature on high. As you can see, it seems to darken up the image and bring up some of the shadows. It seems to work well, but we would need to dive in further to see if it affects image quality at all. So we've done some side-by-side comparisons. What do you think? Before we give you our opinions, I want to comment on a couple of misunderstandings that I've seen in various reviews of this drone. First is about dynamic track. This gives the ability for the drone to follow a person or object automatically or dynamically. Autel recently provided some firmware updates for both the Nano series and the Evo Lite series of drones. This version added dynamic track for the Evo Lite, but it did not add dynamic track for the Nano series. The Nano did get updates like HDR, which we looked at. The next misunderstanding is about geofencing. I was trying to determine if geofencing was implemented on this drone, and I couldn't figure it out. So I emailed Autel, and this is the response. Concerning geofencing, our no-fly zones do not restrict takeoff or flight outside of certain areas in mainland China and Japan, where it's a legal requirement to do so according to local regulations. However, outside of those areas in mainland China and Japan, the no-fly zones do not restrict or prohibit flight in any way and only serve as a warning and advisory system for the pilot. So there still is no geofencing implemented on the Nano series drones. So what is our opinion about these drones in a nutshell? Since we're attempting to do these reviews through the eyes of the user base of each of these models, we're looking at the Mini and Nano through the eyes of beginner drone pilots. With that said, we know there are different levels of beginner drone pilots and people attempting to use these drones for different purposes, but we're trying to address the majorities. Now, with that said, we would love to hear your thoughts, so please comment below about how you use either the Mini or Nano drones, or as a beginner drone pilot, tell us how you use your drone, whatever model it is. We would love to know, and this will help us in future videos. So let's start with price. The DJI Mini SE is about $300 US. The Mini 2 is about $450 and has 4K 30 frames per second and 4 times zoom. The Autel Nano Plus is about $950. That's the standard bundle, not the premium bundle. This is a pretty big difference in price. So is it worth the difference? In my opinion, the Nano Plus is a really nice drone, but it's not worth that extra money for beginner drone pilots. I think a drone with some of the features like HDR and obstacle sensing makes sense for these compact drones, but the price has to be closer to the Mini than the Nano. Once a drone starts to get close to the $1,000 range, the drone should start to become more prosumer than beginner. The DJI Air 2S is about the same price and has a 1-inch sensor, 5.4K video, and obstacle sensing in 4 directions. All that said, I do like some things better on the Autel drones than the DJI drones. The controller feels more robust than the DJI standard controllers. I like that you just push and hold the power button to turn on and off. I like that the Nano Plus has obstacle avoidance and it's easy to toggle on and off. I like that the Nano Plus has HDR photo and video. I think this makes great images easy for beginners. And I like the accuracy of the return to home feature. Some things that I don't like on the Nano Plus, I wish the controller would accommodate an iPad mini. I don't like that the joysticks don't have a storage spot on the controller. The multi-charger for the batteries is very clunky and it's easy for the batteries to fall off while you're charging. Hovering stability is not great for some reason, and the quick shots like circle and flick are a bit erratic. So that's all for this video. Hopefully you found it helpful and informative, and please leave the comments below so we can improve future videos. In our next video, we'll unbox and set up the Autel Evo Lite Plus and do a similar review. So make sure to subscribe and click the notifications bell so that you don't miss it. And from all of us here at UAV Coach, we wish you blue skies and safe flying. We'll see you soon.